Today, I want to ask you a question. Are you letting fear stop you? I had to ask myself this question many times over the course of my life. And today, it's especially a point that I want to make because, fear doesn't stop. And it's the one thing that I've learned as I've grown through different phases of my life and seeing how my mind can play tricks on me. And if you're like me, your mind starts racing. You're wondering who's going to judge you. Am I making the right move? Should I do this? Should I move there? All of these questions, they start racing. And you're ruminating now on fear of failure, fear of people judging you. And to be honest, if we stay there in that mindset, our fears will stop us from the greatness that we were meant to be. Now, that doesn't mean when I say greatness that it means you're on these big stages and you're supposed to be rich and wealthy and all of that. But your version of great, who were you called and created to be in this world? And so whatever great means to you, my great is not your great. What I was created to do is not what you were created to do because we're all unique. We have different gifts, we have different talents, and today is an opportunity for us to kind of take a step back and assess in our own hearts and minds where we've allowed fear to keep us playing small on our own level. So, number one, is the fear really keeping you from greatness? And I want you to think about what were the dreams that you had when you were a child? Maybe when you were 5 years old. I know when I was a kid, I was dreaming of being this amazing fashion designer. I mean, I sat next to this Asian girl when I was in kindergarten, and she could draw these amazing images and pictures, and she taught me how to draw. And from a young age, I had this desire to look at magazines, and I pulled out pictures, and I used to paste them on my wall, and I started drawing what I saw. And that's what kind of started me on this journey. I also watched my grandmother. She was an amazing fashionista. I mean, she used to wear all the minks and the furs, and she was like the bomb. People saw her coming, they move out of the way. Like, this is this lady. Who is she? It's like she had that, and I wanted that. So I used to play dress up in her closet. Of course, I was just putting on, swallowing in these mink coats, at a young age, and I thought I was everything. I had on all the jewelry and the gold, and it made me feel good. It made me dream of a life where I could design amazing clothes for women and be able to make them feel beautiful and pretty. Now, that dream stayed with me for life, but I didn't act on it. I didn't have any money to go out and start this career. I was a teen mom, and I actually didn't get to go to fashion school because it was too expensive. And so I had to take a traditional route to life. And that means I had to start a career. I had to start working in an office and doing all these things that were so far from creativity. And it wasn't until I was 30 or maybe late 20s, early 30s to where I started to explore creativity on that level. And I took sewing when I was in high school, but I never had a machine that I used from high school all the way to, adulthood. And I used to make jewelry. That's the most that I did. I made jewelry and had a jewelry store for a little bit, for about a year. And, I didn't do anything with fashion. But fast forward to when I turned 40, then I took sewing classes out of the blue, something I'd never done, and learned to sew again. I was really good, naturally talented, and my first clothes were actually wearable. They were wearable, fashionable, and that started me on a 7-year journey of fashion. So what dream did you have? And did you allow fear to stop you from doing it? Did life, our life gets in the way of sometimes our dreams. Like I said, that dream I had at 5, I didn't actually fulfill till 40. So just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So what greatness is locked up in there, no matter what age you are. This is age agnostic. It doesn't matter if you're 15, if you're 50, or if you're 65. Get out of that bubble that you're in, get out of the box that people have put you in, and know that there's greatness in you. And it's still time, as long as you have breath in your body, to find out what you were put on this earth to do and to be. And you still have time to be great. Point number 2, don't compare with others what you see, because you're not in a competition with other people. So I know it's very hard. It's even hard for me. I look at people on social media. They look like they're ahead of us. They look like they're doing so good. Everybody look like they're making so much money. And behind the scenes, you have no idea what struggles they're facing. You have no idea if their business is actually successful or not. The one thing that I don't want to pretend, and I never wanted to pretend, is that I was this high flying, high powered, making all this money. I was doing the fashion shows and on red carpets and doing all those things, but I didn't make money. I literally spent more money than I made. I sold clothes. Yes. I did shows. Yes. But that didn't guarantee me to be successful in terms of financial success. I was a success because I took an idea, something from nothing, fabric, and I sewed that thing. But me comparing my journey as a beginning designer to somebody who was already well known and already dressing fashionistas and already dressing, these movie stars, that could intimidate even the best of them. Right. So I was never really in competition for them, but I did look at where they were and wondered, is this ever going to be me? What are you comparing yourself to? Who are you comparing yourself to, and why? What is it that is keeping you in a state of comparison? And if we can break the mental barrier of watching other people fulfill their dreams or be ahead of us, or maybe they started at a different part of life. Maybe they had the connects. Maybe they had the money. Maybe they had all of the relationships. And that's fine, because that's their journey. For me, I didn't have that. I started from scratch. I was in LA with no contacts. I had to find them. Actually wearing my own clothes, people actually were more attracted to me. And again, being able to have those opportunities came from exercising my gift. If I compared what I was doing to the others and I never actually wore them because I didn't think it was enough, I never would have had the opportunity. So stop comparing yourself, no matter how hard it is. If you have to turn it off, stop following certain people. I found myself when I was in that state of comparison and that envy would rise up. I had to pray about it, number one. But number two, I had to stop torturing myself. Turn it off, unfollow, mute. It's okay to do that. And nobody ever says that you have permission to turn it off. We torture ourselves because that's human nature. We want to see what everybody's doing. So our fingers and our thumbs are scrolling and just getting more and more discouraged. Stop comparing yourself to where other people are and run your own race. It doesn't mean now that you're going to be able to have all of the journey and the path laid out. I have a scripture for you. In Genesis 12, it said, the Lord told Abraham to go and leave his country, leave his relatives, and leave his father's family and go to a land he will show you. And that spoke to me. Go and I will show you. Now, Abraham already had a predestined life, and God already showed him what he would be, the father of nations. He would own all of this land and all of this. He owned everything. He would be the father of nations. But he didn't come to that overnight. And God didn't give him a map. So you're not going to have a map or a journey already laid out. You're not going to be able to say, okay, I'm going to write down every single step. You don't need it. Because when you trust and you have faith and belief in who God is, you will take the risk. You will go because he said, go. I've already equipped you. I've given you what you need. You already have inside of you what you need. I didn't know that I was going to pick up a pair of scissors at 40. I didn't know that I was going to be running fabric through a machine at 40. But when I started, I got the pathway when I started drawing clothes at 40, actually. I didn't just find, this sewing studio. I actually started with just drawing for a straight 30 days. I was sketching in a sketchbook. I was doing the things that I used to do when I was little. I was still going to work every day, though. I was still having to pay the bills and do a normal, conventional life. One day I'm driving home from work and I see a sign right around the corner from my house. And it was like, adult sewing classes. And I'm like, OMG. So I walked in and I was like, did you just open this store? And the lady said, no, I've been here for a year, but I just put out a sign. And I was like, okay, God, I hear you loud and clear. I had to do something. So the act of going was me deciding to pick up a pencil, go to Michael's, get the supplies for drawing, the colored pencils, the sketch pads and all of that, and start drawing. That's all I did every night. I was inspired. I was good too. I mean, compared to other people, probably not, but compared to where I had never been to just sketching straight out of the blue, you'd be surprised at how good God can make you. Drawing women front and back, drawing a shoe, like all those things that I had really not done. I realized that I was inspired by the Holy Spirit to be good at it. And I did that. And I got to pat myself on the back. Girl, you did that thing. And that turned into a journey that took me from just sketching to finding a sewing studio, taking a few classes on a couple of Saturdays, and just YouTube University. I learned as I went. And as I went and as I wore, people found me, people talked to me, people promoted me, and I started doing shows just like that. It was not anything miraculous. I didn't have to go out and hustle my way. I hustled nothing. God brought the people to me. He found the avenues for me to showcase and be showcased. All right. So what are you afraid of? And are you waiting on a roadmap, or are you allowing God to show you the journey as you go? So what is the lesson? Start, do something, move, get up, go try something new, go start, and that will open up the path. He's going to show you as you go. And then he's going to give you the roadmap as effort and energy has to be put in, because he's only going to bless what you actually do. He's not going to come and just drop it in your lap. We have to do work. That is a part of our journey, is to learn and explore and do and make mistakes. So the next one is you have to start and learn from those mistakes. All right. Because you're going to make plenty. And that's the biggest lesson that I've had in my life. I didn't become this famous worldwide known designer. On my level, I was really great. And I knew that. I knew God was pleased with the work I did. And on social media, people probably thought I was the bomb. I'm from Texas. People were like, man, she's doing the thing, and I felt like I made it to a certain degree. I mean, minus the money, I can say I had a great time. I did a great thing. I was very good at what I did and proud of what I did and inspired by what I did. And it opened up more for me. So, learning from my mistakes was everything didn't go to plan, and that's okay. Sometimes we always want to be able to say we had this amazing from rags to riches story, or we want to not make any mistakes. We don't want to bump our head. But if you think about life, and you think about everything you've been through, it's never been a straight path, and you're not going to have one. So mistakes are guarantees. And without them, you're never going to learn your journey. You're never going to find your passion. You're never going to see what you're capable of. And so just because it didn't make you money, by the way, doesn't mean you're not successful. Mistakes happen because we're supposed to make them. The mistakes actually are the toll you have to pay towards greatness. And so if you're afraid of making a mistake, spending money, and it not, coming into making you rich, and you want this overnight, it's not going to happen. Make a mistake, fail at something, learn how it feels to fail. Learn how to be excited about a failure, because a failure means you're closer to something that you're going to be great at. Learn how to celebrate yourself along the journey. Learn how to take pride in what you do. Finish what you start. All of the things that I ever did in life didn't come because I quit. It came because I kept going even when people weren't clapping. And a failure of a business doesn't make me a failure. It means that that opportunity didn't pan out to be what I maybe had envisioned, but maybe I finished that job and maybe that was what it was supposed to be. It doesn't mean that I can't pick it back up again and I can't start my journey over again. But you know what? Sometimes God takes you from faith to faith, from glory to glory. Sometimes you finished what you needed to do on this level, and then you're going to go to a new level and he's going to give you something else. There is more in you than one thing. And whenever we were born, we had decided, I guess society had told us that we were supposed to be one thing. But today you can be many things. And God made us multifaceted. He made some of us teachers. He made some of us, creatives, artists. He made some of us be able to do hair. He made some people be able to, use your hands in conventional ways, like blue collar work. It's all noble. It's all, worthwhile as long as you're doing something with it. Now, this talk wasn't about you becoming an entrepreneur and all of that. It is simply saying that there's something in you that needs to come out no matter what it is. All right. Everybody was not necessarily created, like I said, to be on big stages, but what can you do? What can you model? Who can you still, have time to become while you're here on this earth? Because listen, we only get this one life. And I always used to tell myself I didn't want to leave here without being depleted because I know there's more. And until I get it all out, if it's an idea up here, I want to see it come to life on whatever level that is. And so how can you do that on your level too? Write it down. It says, write the vision, make it plain. That vision could be something very simple. It doesn't have to be complex. It just needs to be something that you have felt that you should be able to do or could do or want to do. And then you find a way to go to that thing. I was talking to somebody the other week and they were talking about, I used to paint and I used to do all these things. Go take a paint and sip class. There's nothing wrong with going and being around a bunch of adults and finding a way to do the thing that you love in a safe space. And guess what? They called me back and like, guess what I did? I went to Paint and Sip and sent me pictures of their beautiful painting. And it was so amazing. That is a step towards seeing and hearing God tell you through someone that you can do more. You don't have to just talk about it. You can be about it. You can take a step. And that's one step towards Paint and Sip turned out to be an amazing evening, an amazing experience, and the desire for more. So I know I talk fast and I know I get excited, but man, when I think about all the possibilities for us, and just because the world seems like it's on fire and all of these things are happening, I am sorry. I will not allow what's happening in the world to stop me from fulfilling my dreams. You don't have to be a snake oil salesman. You don't have to fake the funk. Be who you're going to be on your level and let God use you. Yes, even today. So go and be encouraged, make something happen, and leave me a comment and tell me what it is that you're going to start. What are you going to try? What are you going to stop worrying about? And how you're going to get past your fear. And let's make it happen, guys, because we got this one life. Let's be bold. Let's make it happen. I'm excited for you. Like, share, and follow. Repost this, send it to somebody who's maybe standing in fear and afraid of making a mistake, and show them that they got what it takes. All right. You got what it takes to be great. Let's go.